All right, YouTube, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. It is November 29th. We have a 7-game NBA slate to dive into in today's video. Like we always do, we're going to go through each and every one of these games. I'll give you my lean on the spread, give you my lean on the total. We'll talk about the games, but all of my final plays, so that I'm actually rolling with myself. If you do want to fade me, those plays will be in the pinned comment. Last night, coming off of a nice little 5-1 night, also cashing a plus 208 same game parlay. So the Nets come through for us, the Bucks come through for us. We had a nice spot of the under in the Thunder and Timberwolves game. Almost went to overtime. We almost had to sweat that out, but it did cash. And then the Kings money line come through for us as well as that same game parlay. Like I said, the only play that we missed was the same game parlay in the Hawks and Cavs. So you know what? Let's pump in some damn crowd noise. That's a hell of a night. 5-1. We were one pick away from bringing out the money gun. And if we went 6-0 with two huge plus money plays, we'd fire that money gun off for like 10 minutes. So maybe it's a good thing that we didn't sweep, because it'd take up half the damn video. But on a lesser note, I guess, our ride of the day does not come through here, coming in from Snuff. I love this spot. Had the Brooklyn Nets -2 and Jalen Brunson over 2.5 3-pointers made for plus 218 odds. Brunson, man, this is more of a womp womp for Brunson, not for Snuff. Brunson finishes with 2 3-pointers made. One more 3 made, and we're looking at an amazing ride of the day there. If you guys do want to be the ride of the day, all you got to use is hashtag ride of the day in your comment and let me know an absolute banger of a pick. I'm jumping on board with one person's pick. Win or loss, you get a shout out in the next video. Obviously, if you lose, we got to talk about it, but if you win, we get to celebrate it, and we'll give you a shout out there as well. So go ahead and use that hashtag ride of the day. But yeah, 5-1 night last night. Let's carry that momentum into tonight. Go ahead and smash that subscribe button, smash that like button as well. We're approaching 40,000 subscribers, which is absolutely mind-blowing to me, but you guys are the psychos in the building hitting that subscribe button, so keep up that energy. And yeah, let's go ahead and jump into game number 1 here. We got Orlando hosting Washington, and I'm not gonna lie, originally I was kind of surprised that this was a double-digit spread, but the more and more you look at this game, the more it does make sense. This is an Orlando team that is red hot right now. They just blew out Charlotte a couple nights back, which, you know, I put Charlotte and Washington into a similar category. So I guess I do lean towards Orlando minus the 10 points here. It's not like the bookmakers are throwing a crazy line out there, and the fact that this is all the way at 10 points kind of gives me, I guess, their tip in their hand that they do think Orlando wins this game by a bunch here. So I like Orlando minus the 10 points. They've won 8 of their last 10 games. They're 7-2 at home. They're 14-3 against the spread this season, and I don't really think there's any positional advantage or anything for Washington in this spot. Orlando's been fairly good defensively, and I should say fairly consistent on the defensive end, because obviously they've had some lapses, but this is a good defensive team. They've kind of reeled it in, so give me Orlando here minus the 10 points. The only thing I will say is it seems a little bit, you know, like I could see Washington covering this line, right? Double digits is double digits, so I don't know if this makes it into the final plays, but I'm not betting Washington. I'm not leaning Washington. That team is very bad. I don't trust really anything that they have to put out there from a product perspective night in and night out. So give me Orlando minus the 10 points. I just don't think, and I'm being transparent, I don't think it becomes a final play here. It's probably going to stay as a lean and nothing that impacts our record. The total sitting at 234, which is also kind of like, whoa, that's way up there, right? But this is a Washington team that plays absolutely zero defense. In terms of what they're allowing per game, they're allowing 124 per game here, which is nuts, right? Like 124, only one more team in the league is allowing more points than them. And this Orlando offense is kind of middle of the road, so if Orlando just plays normal and Washington plays normal on the defensive end, we probably do see this get up into the 230. So I'm going to slightly lean towards the over here as well. I think this one finishes right around 235, 236, which isn't enough, again, for me to confidently make this a final play. But I don't think it's really the best of leans to lean towards the under here, just because you have one team that literally is playing Olay defense constantly. So Orlando minus the 10 points and the over in this spot. Do either of those become final plays? I'll tell you right now, most likely not. Next up, we have Detroit hosting the Lakers here. Detroit, 7-point dogs at home. Total sitting at 229. And it may be kind of crazy. It's not psycho alarm alert worthy, but I do think that the Detroit Pistons do keep this game close here. 7 points seems like it's a little bit too much to me now. Both of these teams have been kind of meh, right? Definitely against the spread. Lakers 7-11, Detroit 7-10, but this could be a look ahead spot for the Lakers. Tomorrow night, they go and play OKC in OKC. They're probably not going to be up for this game against Detroit. We do have some injuries here. LeBron James questionable. Wouldn't be surprised if they sit him this game so that they can have him healthy for next game, right? Anthony Davis also on the injury report here. Cam Reddish on the injury report. Like, this could be a game in which the Lakers are kind of like, yeah, we don't care about this one. Looking forward to tomorrow's game. So I like them getting kind of caught off guard here. Detroit plus the 7 points. This Detroit team, it's more or less like I guess fading the Lakers in this spot than backing Detroit. Detroit was decent against the spread for a little bit of a stretch. Like, they're definitely better against the spread than they are as a ball club overall right now. They're 7-10, like I said, against the spread. They're 2-15 this season straight up. So they are a better against the spread team than they are when it comes to a normal record. But I'm not like backing them entirely. It's more or less fading the spot for the Lakers, expecting that, LeBron might not play. Anthony Davis may play limited minutes because they do have a back-to-back with a better team to look forward to tomorrow night against OKC. So I don't mind that spot. Detroit also is going to be on a back-to-back. They may be looking ahead to the Knicks, so it might counter everything I've just said. But let's catch the Lakers lacking here, and let's go with Detroit here, plus the 7 points. Wouldn't even be surprised if Detroit wins this game, to be honest, because I just don't see the Lakers getting up for this game when they have a more important game tomorrow night. I think they're going to be a little bit cautious. Total sitting at 229 seems a little bit too high for me. I think this one finishes in the mid 220s. Say what you want about either one of these teams, but the offenses have not been consistent, right? So forget the defenses for a moment. The Lakers have scored under, 1-0 or 101 or under in 2 of their last 3 games. They're coming off a 94-point game against the Sixers here. And Detroit, they haven't reached over 220 in over 10 games, or 120, excuse me, in over 10 games here. So I don't really expect there to be tons of offense. And this really isn't a spot in which, you need to worry about, are the defenses all that great? I don't expect them to be making a bunch of shots. Lakers been better as of late, but neither one of these teams crazy efficient from the field. So sometimes, they'll make it tough on themselves to score points, and especially if LeBron doesn't play, it's obviously going to be a huge offensive hit and I guess just overall hit to the Lakers. So we'll see. Keep an eye on that injury report, but I'll lean towards the under as well as Detroit plus the 7 points. If LeBron gets ruled out and we still have plus 7, can't believe I'm saying it, I do think that this could be a final play. All right, guys, real quick, before we continue on with the slate, I want to talk to you about OddsJam. If you haven't checked out OddsJam yet, today is the day to do so. You can get 7 days free with the link in the pinned comment and 25% off your first month if you do continue on with your subscription. This is the sportsbook screen over on OddsJam right now. I'm looking at point spread. You can literally compare every single sportsbook out there to make sure you're getting the best deal. You can see line moves as they happen as well. This is not just for spreads. You can literally go in and look at every single type of play that is out there. If we want to look at player props and player points, right? Player points, it's going to load every single player prop that is offered, and you want to make sure you're getting the best deals out there, right? So you can see every single sportsbook. They also have the positive EV tool, which is really, really cool. It identifies missed price lines in the market, so you can actually capitalize as positive EV betting. If you don't know what that is, it's a long-term profitable strategy. For example, Jackson Smith Najigba, we have this set to Thursday Night Football right now, but under 40.5 player receiving yards for plus 104 on Caesars, right? You can see most sportsbooks have this at minus 118 on average. So there's a plus money play on the board right now that most sportsbooks are pricing this at minus money. It is a really good tool. Those are just a couple of the tools that OddsJam offers, guys. And I wouldn't be, preaching this to you guys or promoting it to you guys if I didn't use this thing myself. You've seen it in videos before, and you'll see it in future videos. This is a really great tool. Go check it out. 7 days free. I do think it's well worth it. So use that link in the pinned comment and use code GUYBOSTON to get that 25% off. Now let's go ahead and dive into this next game. We have Toronto hosting Phoenix, and this is a weird one for me, to be completely honest, because I think Phoenix is the better team, will be the better team long term, but I kind of like the spot for Toronto here. This is the last game of a road trip for Phoenix. They play Denver in a couple nights. They're definitely probably thinking about that game, right? And Toronto's coming off a loss to Brooklyn yesterday, in which they hung in that game for a decent amount of time, but then ultimately ended up losing, right? So I think I'm going to lean towards Toronto, as weird as it is. They're getting 2.5 points. This this is an older screenshot now. Most books are updated to 2.5 here. And you have a bumped and bruised Kevin Durant. He is questionable today, probably going to play, but he hasn't played in a couple games, right? So if they don't play him, they want to keep him, or even if they play him a little bit, right, like a percentage of what he normally would, you do have sort of a team that should try and get healthy for a more important Denver game. So, you know, there is a good reason to kind of look at, okay, well, yes, Phoenix is the better team. They have the better players, but is everyone going to be at 100%? Like Booker coming back from injury, he's looked okay. Looked good, I should say, but he's back. He was injured just like, what, a week and a half ago. Durant's now injured, going against a Toronto team in which, you know, they're probably going to grind it out and try and win every game they can because they really haven't been playing all that great basketball. And this is a chance to get to 9-9, 500 on the year. So I'll take them at home as an underdog plus 2.5. The total sitting at 222.5, which seems a little bit too low, to be completely honest. I think that this one gets towards the 230s. If I'm being honest, I feel like this is a Toronto team that, yes, you know, they're fairly defensive and have played good defense, but they are on a back-to-back here. I could see some of their defense sort of, you know, lack there, and I could see this being like a Toronto game in which they stick close. Maybe they even win the game outright, but maybe like a 215 to 213 or 115 to 113 type of a game at the very least. So I'm going to lean towards the over in this spot as well. But again, I think this Phoenix team's better. If you're on the Phoenix side of things, I don't necessarily hate it. I'm just really factoring in Durant's injury as well as them trying to get healthy for Denver in a couple nights. And this is also the last game in a road trip for them. All right, New Orleans taking on Philadelphia right now. Philly on the road as 1-point favorites. The total sitting at, it's actually bumped up even from when we took the screenshot. The total sitting up at 229 now, all the way up from 227.5. In terms of spread pick here, I like the Sixers, but it seems like it could be a trap. And we've seen the Pelicans actually win some of these trap games for better teams this year, right? Denver, Dallas, they've done it a few different times. They took 2 against Sacramento. Like, this is a team that wins as close underdogs, so keep that in mind. But that being said, I do think that this is a good spot for Philadelphia here. I know I mentioned look ahead games and everything like that. They do have the game against the Celtics in a couple days, so if you want to factor that in, go for it. But I don't really see a world in which Joel Embiid gets stopped against this Pelicans team, so I'm going to ride with them. Yes, this Pelicans team has been playing well, but they did just drop 2 straight games, so I think that may have thrown them off their rocker a little bit. 2 close games, kind of heartbreaking games. Now they play a much different team. They played Utah 2 games in a row, which is obviously less defensive, high fly and all that. Now they play Philadelphia, who can obviously, you know, up the pace and play fast like they have been all year long, but they'll beat you down low and with brute force as well. So I expect Joel Embiid to have a decent night here. I don't really see him being totally stopped by Valanciunas, to be honest. So I'll go ahead and lean towards Philly here, minus the 1 point. The caveat is, if this was, let's see, I would put this maybe at 4.5. If this was like 4.5, I don't know if I would roll with this. I don't know if the Sixers win this game by 5, but pretty much asking for them to win the game outright, you know, -1 being the spread, I'm fairly comfortable with that. In terms of the total, like I said, it is up at 229 now, which is a little bit up from obviously what the screenshot has here. My lean in this one's probably going to be right around that. I'm going to lean towards the over just because we've seen Philly score a bunch of points, and when they do win, they are putting up a bunch of points. So I think if I have to, you know, obviously with a gun to my head, I don't know if I play this one, but if Philly's going to win this game, I do think that they put up, you know, themselves maybe 120-ish, which you got to be asking for this to get into the 230s if they put up 120, right? It's a 1-point spread. You expect New Orleans to stick in the game. So I'll lean towards the over in this spot as well, but I think I like the Sixers minus 1 point as my favorite lean in this spot. A few weird lines on the board today, and this is definitely one of them. Memphis minus 4.5 at home taking on Utah here. So this one kind of sketches me out a little bit because you want to say, oh my God, Utah is the better team. Now, slightly better, but the better team, right? And they're getting 4.5 on the road. Like, you gotta love that spot for them, right? But not necessarily so fast. Like, this is a Memphis team that, why are they favored? Like, read into the lines. This is a terrible team. 3-13 on the season, 5-11 against the spread, 0-8 at home, yet Vegas still puts them at -4, right? So it's a little bit interesting to read into here. It's not like they're getting, you know, Marcus Smart or Ja Morant or Clark back from injury. Like, this is business as usual, or at least should be, yet they're still favored by 4.5 points. So I'm going to throw my gut reaction to this game out the window. I'm going to lean towards Memphis here, minus the 4.5. You can actually get it at 3.5 as well on some sports books as well. MGM right now, minus 3.5. So yeah, it could be something that, the books know what they're doing dropping this line, because when I saw this, I was like, no way the spreadsheet's not updating correctly, right? Like, this doesn't make sense. And it's true, like, this is the line. So I'm sniffing out the trap. I'm sniffing out the line reading here. There's a reason why Memphis is favored. They wouldn't just lay points like this, right, if they didn't know what they're doing. So yeah, I'm gonna lean towards Memphis minus the points, which is crazy. That's worthy of a psycho alert alarm, right? I just don't understand exactly why, and I don't want to question it. I'm not going to say, I'm not putting all my eggs in a Utah basket in the sense of, we're looking at them and being like, oh, like, this is a team that, is way better. Like, no Larry Markkinen is one thing to note, but even still, Clarkson, Collins, like, this is still a better team than Memphis, and they're underdogs. So I'm not putting my money into a trap with Utah. I don't trust them all that much. So yeah, reading the line here, Memphis minus the 4 points. The total sitting at 224 here. Something's fishy about this one. I'm going to lean towards the under, because I think if Memphis wins this game, definitely by 4.5 points, it means Utah does not show up. That's what I'm kind of getting from just reading the lines here, almost forgetting any of the players or the type of game or recent history. No, I'm reading this line, and we're looking at Memphis minus the points as well as the under. Next up, we have Denver taking on Houston, and I love this spot for Denver. This is obviously a little bit of a revenge spot for them as well. Houston has got them 2 times this season, but now Denver is at home and ready to bounce back there. In terms of injuries, kind of the same old for the Nuggets. They do have Aaron Gordon and Jokic on the injury report, and Jamal Murray is actually a game time decision here in this one as well. So definitely worth keeping an eye on the injury report for this team. But if everyone's healthy, especially if Jamal Murray is healthy, this is such a good spot for the Nuggets to kind of come back. 6, yeah, I wish this was a lower spread, but we'll take it. This is a revenge spot for the Nuggets, and they're at home here, which obviously they are a good home team overall. They're 8-0 this season. I like their spot here to kind of prove once again, hey, we are one of, if not the best team in the league, right? We went on a little bit of a stretch where we didn't play that well, but we're starting to win basketball, right? They win 132-120 against San Antonio. They beat the Clippers by 9 points. Like, this is a good spot for them, I think, to bounce back to what they have been doing or had been doing prior to. Jokic was out last game, right? Jamal Murray, again, he might be coming back here. Aaron Gordon has been out for a couple games. Like, if they get healthy, this is a well-rested Nuggets team with a lot of revenge on their mind. Now, the total is sitting at 217 here. Seems a little bit too low. I think that if the Nuggets, get out to the races here and win this game, I think this is probably like a 115 to 107, 108 type of a game, which obviously is over that line. So it's a little bit too low. Maybe it's low-hanging fruit. Maybe this is a trap of a total, but I do think that this is a good spot to take a peek at the over in this one. All right, Sacramento, who cashed for us last night. 2 guys also in the same game parlay cash. So we were riding high with Sacramento last night, hosting the Clippers here. Sacramento right now plus 1.5 at home. The total sitting at 230.5. It's a little weird to look at this game because I do think Sacramento is the better team. And like I said, there's a couple weird spots today, a lot of look-ahead spots. Tomorrow, the Clippers play the Warriors, but I don't necessarily think that that's going to overshadow the game that they have tonight. So I do think the Clippers show up. The problem is they haven't been showing up on the road. They're 2-6 on the road this season. Their numbers when they play on the road too definitely drop. In plenty of different stat categories, but their offense looks like it plays a little bit better when they are on the road. So the defense may not be there. They may, not necessarily play as good of defense when they are on the road, and they may have a bad win-loss record on the road here. But I think I'm going to lean towards the Clippers here, minus the 1.5. I think the Kings are the better team, and I think that they're. I shouldn't say the better team. I think the Kings are playing better basketball, or at least about to start trending towards playing better basketball. They've won 8 of their last 10 games. The Clippers have kind of just been like a roller coaster, but you could still make the argument that they've won 4 of their last 6 games. The two games that they lost were New Orleans and Denver, 2 teams that are playing decent basketball, right? So it's it's tough to say, you know, that I look at this game and say that the Clippers blow them out, but this should be a close game, and I kind of trust what the Clippers will do late game here against the Sacramento team coming off of a back-to-back. So it kind of pains me to go against a team, the covering Kings, that have covered for us and won us so much money over the last couple of years. But I do think that this line kind of says it all. Like, Sacramento on a back-to-back at home, getting the 1.5 points. Like I said, plenty of stat categories the Clippers drop on the road, especially win-loss too. But they do have some categories that go up. So I'm going to trust that this Clippers team gets the job done here, -1.5. But this is crazy because this is where you like fade your entire gut, right? Like this big old gut and the research, you know, that you do. You got to factor in these situational things like the Kings being on the back-to-back, like the fact that they just had a big win against Golden State. It is kind of a letdown spot for them. Now the total sitting at 230.5. I think this one finishes probably right around, I would say right around that mark, but I'm going to lean towards the under. I could see this being like a 116, 111 type game in favor of the Clippers. So I'm going to lean towards the under. But I obviously have that spotted at like 227. Like, am I really going to make that a final play when the margin of over-under is only like 3 points? We shall see. Keep an eye on the pin comment. You guys can also follow me here at EvGuyBoston over on Twitter/X. Following pretty much everyone back that follows me as of late. So go ahead and check that out. But yeah, guys, that's what I have for you in today's video. Comment if you're still watching. Comment 21. Let me know that you are still watching, that you're part of the Fade squad and not a guppy. The Guppies didn't have a great night last night. We go 5-1. The only parlay that the only play that we lost was the same game parlay, and one Evan Mobley assist away from cashing. We could have had a 6-0 night, plus 175 hit, plus 208 hit, but we'll take the profit, guys. 5-1 last night. We'll take it. But yeah, guys, we'll catch you guys in the next one. All right, peace out.